All right, morning everyone. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting to go through information for second semester. Obviously today we're going to be talking about wheels, tires, wheels, and wheel bearings. So obviously you're going to need your notebook. Open up to a blank sheet of paper. Up at the top, you're going to want to make sure that you are writing your name and the date. It is the 23rd of January, 2025. Now, I do want to just be forthcoming with you when it comes to second semester's note-taking. It's going to be it's going to be more days than it was in first semester. Okay, so typically speaking, we do about 4 class periods maybe first semester. At least I was trying to get it to 4 days. But in most cases for second semester, because we're only covering tires and alignments, steering, suspension, and then brakes, we're kind of combining a whole bunch of stuff together, information-wise, for you. So these are really going to end up being 2 presentations all brought up into all together at once. Okay, before we get out in the lab and actually start doing anything. So I don't know necessarily how long it's going to end up being.
What will our lab consist of?
We'll get that when we get there. Right now we're going to talk about information. So there's that. So just so you are aware, we'll be in here probably for obviously the rest of this week, easily all of next week, and maybe a little bit more into the following week, information-wise. Okay?
All taking notes or?
All taking notes.
Oh, see, no.
Oh, I got a special surprise for you next week, Wednesday.
Did anybody get 100%?
No.
I did.
No, if you want to see the statistics
You posted it last night.
from yesterday's pretest, you can go on to Google Classroom. On the stream, I took a screenshot of our graph. Yeah.
Did anybody get a 90+?
The highest grade was a 65%.
That was me!
So they ended up passing.
Oh, that's
It wasn't in this class.
Oh, that's right.
Was Ben Schaefer?
No, and not everything's been cheaper.
It might be Ben Schaefer.
It might be.
Anywho.
It does.
The average was 29%, which to be fair was about 10% higher than I was expecting, so pleasantly surprised
but
on that end.
How many questions were there?
40 questions.
No, I got.
I'll let you do the math. All right. Also, friendly reminder, tomorrow at midnight, definition of a tire, 4 days lesson. The Google form quiz needs to be completed and submitted, so that way we can check you out. That'll be the first thing that'll end up going in the grade book. Also, I didn't mention this yesterday because we didn't have time, but there will be safety glasses checked this semester as well. But those are coming randomly. All right, I gotta put those in my calendar so that it doesn't seem like I'm
Prepared for that.
just randomly, or I'm just choosing a day because a particular student didn't bring their safety glasses or something. Yes.
Get it out.
Think about it. Think about it.
Come on.
And now speak it out.
Oh, will those always be that short?
Yeah.
Like, will we always get those on Wednesday?
No, you'll get those on Monday.
Monday and Friday?
And Monday and
Yeah.
Friday.
Okay.
Each week. Yep.
So what if you finished the test but you didn't do the reading?
Well, then you're going to not know the information for the test that's going to be
Okay,
coming
so I
up.
did the test.
There's still going to be some students that are going to just do the test.
Are you required to do the reading?
You can't tell.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Listen, the reason why I assigned that information to you is for your benefit, not because I want to give you more work, right? The information in this 4-day stuff
Yep.
is complementing what I'm talking about in class. But it also gives you additional information that we're not going to talk about in class that is also very, very relevant to understanding what I'm trying to teach you. If you're going to choose or elect not to do that because it's quote unquote too much work or takes too much time, go talk to your counselor and drop out of the class, because then you obviously don't see the value of the information that you're trying to learn in this class, so don't be in the class. I know that might seem mean and rude, but it's just like, hey, right? It's an elective. You are choosing to be here, so be here. Do the stuff that is required of you. Yeah.
You got super glue.
Do I have what?
Super glue.
I do not.
For what?
Now, the information, Simon, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that, since the fact that rims are so expensive, have they gone up in price?
Everything's gone up in price.
What?
Like tires right now are crazy expensive.
Just the tire itself or the whole wheel?
Both.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're not going to talk too much about rims, quote unquote. We'll spend a little bit of time about a few information, but mostly this lesson's going to end up being about tires themselves.
Okay.
Which you would think, how in the world can we take 4 to 5 class periods just talking about tires? There's a lot more to tires than what you guys might actually come across. And hopefully, Emerson, worst case scenario, this is going to make you a better consumer. So when you need to go buy tires, right, you'll actually be able to know what you're talking about and look for the best deal and understand, hey, this is what my car needs and this is what I'm going to end up buying. Okay? It's all about education. Alright, is this going to actually work today? Why is it not working? Oh, it's because I'm on an HDMI cable. Awesome. Hold on a second, folks. Let me get out my little clicker. Which means I'm probably not going to be able to write on my board. Now, is this going to work?
Getsky, is there any addition to our classroom that you would like to address?
Oh, the cell phone holder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked that up this morning. Mr. Mickelkavich bought a whole bunch of them, and
He's know all about them?
so if you're on your cell phone, it's going to go up into the
Hey, that's better than going to the office. I'll take that.
what was I going to say? We should call this thing something like the daycare, the phone daycare.
Prison.
Phone doctor.
So if it's
Prison.
a big,
Phone doctor.
if it's a big, does it go to the office?
Right now, no.
Yes.
No, here's the fun part, right? I might actually start requiring you in the future to, as you enter the room, put your cell phone in there.
What?
That way it's not distracting you.
Yeah, Juan.
Aw.
Just saying. Also, I don't know why we got earbuds in.
Yeah, how about them?
Oh, this is my ear unit.
Mine's out. Mine's
Oh,
out.
cool.
Yeah.
I'll just speak louder, okay? You
No.
take it out now.
What?
There you go.
All
right.
Couldn't hear you.
Transitioning into our notes
I
here.
haven't turned it up.
Tires, wheels, and wheel bearings. Here's the standard set by ASE. Alright, so as a student in this class, you're going to be able to inspect tire condition, identify tire wear patterns, check for correct tire size, application, which includes the load and speed ratings, air pressure as listed on the tire information placard label. You also, as a student, will be able to rotate the tires according to the manufacturer's recommendation, including the vehicles equipped with tire pressure monitoring systems. There's probably a lot of information in these standards that you have no idea about, which makes for a perfect question that you could write up at the top of your notes as your essential question. Yeah,
How do you balance tires?
very carefully, typically on one foot.
No, like
That's a whole 4 days conversation, right? We talk more about that in Auto 2. In real quick terms, you're probably going to do spinning the tire,
yeah.
and then a computer is calculating where spots are that needs weights to be able to balance that out.
It's easy.
It's easy if you have the right equipment. If you don't properly balance a tire, unfortunately, as you're driving down the road at higher speeds, that's going to result in adverse vibrations,
And bad gas mileage.
and it can wreak havoc on your suspension and steering systems.
Mm.
So
Be a little
there's a whole,
Having shot.
like literally that's like a whole lesson in itself in Auto 2, balancing tires. All right, so anyways, right now, up at the top of your notes, write down an essential question that has to deal with this information here.
What's the name?
Who, what, why, when, where, how. Okay? Again, real simple stuff, low-hanging fruit. What is a tire pressure monitoring system?
A TP.
Right? Like, most people probably don't know what that is. Maybe you do, okay? That's fine. Maybe you can say, hey, what is the load and speed rating on a tire? Again, low-hanging fruit, you might not realize that there's load and speed ratings on a tire. You might not know what it is, what they are. How do I know what the tire condition is? Again, low-hanging fruit, there's a lot of stuff that you can pick and choose from here. You only need to write down one question. It can be any question. It's not a bad question. No such thing. It's what you are curious about. You know what you don't know. So write the question based off of that, okay? So we'll give you a second or two to finish that up.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
nice.
I don't know if this is gonna be the permanent home for where this is gonna be at.
I like it there because then we can all see it.
It's true. I don't know, I might hang it up over the side here.
Nope.
That way
No.
it's not-
Nah,
Hang it up on the door.
Not
Hang it up
tall
on the
enough.
door? That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, but then when I'm going to the bathroom, I'm grabbing my phone.
Yeah, but
That's true.
What about like for like people like Chase? Like, what if he gets like one of the like top numbers?
The nice-
He's gonna be like, oh, I can't put it up there. He's gonna jump.
The nice thing is these all have numbers. You guys have numbered Plinkers cards, so you know what number to choose. on it.
17.
Oh.
How about Chase though? Like,
I like that.
I don't think Chase can still.
You
reach
can't
it,
put it
though.
too high for
He's
me.
like pretty
Oh,
short.
okay, sounds good, Chase. That's why you're sitting back there.
or you need a
You
step.
have a lower number.
You need a step ladder next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Hopefully that was enough time to be able to give you guys an opportunity to write down a question.
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. I did have a picture to show you guys, but I'm taking it out of the presentation, mostly due to the fact that we'll cover that information later on. Come on. Oh man, this is what happens when you don't have good internet. Right now.
Yay.
Tell him to be a good
No
boy.
lesson today.
I say,
There we go. We'll just do it manually. All right, 2 abbreviations that are going to come up over and over and over and over again when we talk about tires, wheels, wheel bearings, all sorts of stuff. So you get the UTQG, rolls right off the tongue, right? Uniform tire grade, quality grade. We'll get into what that is later on, but UTQG. NHTSA, that is a government organization for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. If you're familiar with like OSHA, Occupational Safety Hazard Administration.
that.
Okay, OSHA is the government agency responsible for enforcing workplace laws and safety. Okay, the NHTSA is essentially the government organization that's going to be grading and enforcing laws that are implemented by state and federal, well, mostly federal governments, to make sure that the manufacturers are doing as intended. Okay,
I have a video of OSHA.
there's lots of fun things out there, right?
It's a video of OSHA while I was at work. And I was up there. cutting
Always
pipe.
entertaining.
I was cutting pipe with a hacksaw.
Oh,
It's like going everywhere. Pretty cool.
NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. UTQG, Uniform Tire Quality Grade.
Do you remember this stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. What else?
What do you?
Listen, if you want to really know information, you really want to know it, teach it. Like, I'm going to be very honest with you. You don't know something until you are forced to teach it. Because then you have to know it so well that you have to be able to communicate that clearly to someone who doesn't know what they're talking
So
about.
what if like?
That's why I like to be a teacher.
What if I bring these
Yeah, like
notes and I like teach it to like my little brother?
That would be awesome, because then that forces you to learn it.
And
He's only 2 weeks old.
Sweet.
What?
Look what that.
You just start out with, the tires
started-
on the truck go round and.
Or start being
All right.
I mean, give him a wrench.
What is the purpose of tires? No, again, this is one of those things, as an auto instructor, I realize that everyone knows what a tire is, okay? The problem with this, from my perspective, is the fact that people think they know more than what they actually know, or they don't understand the depths in terms of the detail that goes into a tire. And they just kind of take it for granted. They go, yep, I start my car, I drive down the road, it's super icy out, I expect my vehicle to be able to drive no problem. And you probably never do have any problems, okay? So I'm gonna try to peel the mask off of tire manufacturing and obviously just tire technology in general. So that way, I'm hoping you'll have a greater appreciation of, holy cow, I didn't realize the depths and the details that are involved with tires to begin with,
No, my tires suck.
okay? So anyways, what's the purpose of a tire to begin with? Well, we have couple things. First off, it is a cushion between the road and the vehicle. Tires in and of themselves do help absorb energy as you are driving. It's not the main part of our suspension system, obviously, but it is going to be literally where the rubber meets the road.
Oh, that's a good saying.
You like that? Okay. So as I'm driving, before that energy actually gets into my suspension system, it's going to first travel through the tire. We also need to make sure that that tire is providing traction on the road surface. So that way, as I hit my accelerator, right, and that power is being transferred from the engine through the transmission to the driveline into the tire, that energy is then forced onto the road through friction, and which is ultimately causing the vehicle to go down the road. The one thing that most people don't realize is the complication of making a tire that is going to have traction in any driving condition. Hey, it's January out, we got ice on the road, cool. It also has to perform the same traction and purpose in July when it's storming and hailing outside. Or when you're driving through Death Valley in California and the road temperature is like 180 degrees. Right? So there is a wide condition that these tires have to be able to perform in and perform well. Okay? So the actual technology that goes into producing the synthetic materials to produce a tire to do this is mind-boggling. Okay? There are PhDs, doctorate, that have gone to college for engineering and all this sort of stuff just to be able to experiment and push these things to their limits.
Again,
Yes.
think about it.
I was talking for too long.
Think about it.
Chase, maybe it's because you got your earbud in.
It's because, I mean, as a earbud and I can hear his music.
No, you cannot.
Emerson.
This is my hearing
Hi.
aid.
No, take it out. Thank you.
I was concentrating.
We'll come back to you soon. Simon, what do you got?
What is the technology
big,
in
man.
race tires? Like, what happens there?
Oh, I got it. Hold on.
No. I'm gonna just hold on to the thought. Okay, so that's a whole different thing, right? Typically speaking, race tires are engineered completely different than a normal road tire, but most manufacturers that are involved with motorsports are usually going to use motorsports kind of as an experimental bed. Hey, this is the parameters of this race car that they have to meet. We want to develop a compound that's able to obviously allow them to corner and go to speeds and acceleration and G-force and all that sort of stuff at a very high level. So obviously if our tire is able to perform at that level, it's probably going to be able to perform at a normal level, right? But the construction of those are a little different. Good question. I'm not gonna go too much into depth into that because you're probably never gonna throw a set of racing slicks on your car and run around Fond du Lac. Okay, mostly due to the fact that you wouldn't be able to afford them. Easton.
How about like drag slicks?
He's drinking blood.
Yeah, that's a
Isn't that almost the same?
not.
Yes.
You would think they are, but they're not. They're the wrinkle walls and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna.
But how does that work?
The idea is you're trying to maximize
I think we're asking
the
about
tire
how the tread is
contact
supposed to
on the
be
ground as much as possible,
Because they have less air.
right? Well, you could change the tire pressures and do all that sort of stuff, but then as the torque from the engine's coming across, it's gripping, so you get a good hole shot. We're not drag racing typically on our cars in the street. These tires are not designed for that.
That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
These are not designed for that.
That's alright.
Okay, so again, tires are transmitting driving torque. Torque is a twisting force. As well as braking. Remember, we're not just accelerating on our tires to go, we're also using them to stop. Okay, I don't care if you have the world's best brakes, if you don't have a good set of tires, that force that's being created by those brakes are not being transmitted through the tires into the ground in order to slow you down and stop you. Okay? So everything starts here at the tire. If you don't have a good set of tires, you can have the greatest technology in the world, it's not going to do much good. Okay, first question. Yeah, let's get our flicker cards out. I gotta actually pull this up on
Wait, I gotta get my computer.
Mine's
Mason. Hey, we should start having McCoy on that.
Hey, you bring McCoy to bed one day.
Yes. Betty McCoy. I hate you. I hate you.
They talk about that. Yeah.
That's a true story. Which one? The alphabet.
Why?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, calm
You
down.
just tell. And Winston tells you.
Here it is.
Finally.
Okay. Tech A says one of the functions of an automotive tire is to provide a cushion between the road and the metal wheel. Tech B says one of the functions of an automotive tire is to provide adequate traction with the road surface. Who is right?
That worked.
That worked. Yep, that works.
Nuh-uh, that worked.
It's crazy.
I'm dead ass.
Oh, I got you, Chase.
It worked?
It worked. Alright, I think we got everybody.
No, not me.
Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, I got you. Okay. 61% of you guys got that one correct. The answer is both Tech A and B are correct. Okay.
Yeah, baby. Heck yeah, brother.
Tires.
Oh yeah, baby.
Tires are designed for obviously traction, for slowing and accelerating, but this also acts as a cushion to absorb some smaller bumps and whatnot. Now again, it's not going to absorb everything. That's what our suspension is going to be doing or helping out with. But the tire does play a part in that.
Does anyone else smell that?
That is an odd, weird thing to say. All right, most of our tires nowadays, actually 99.98% of tires, are going to end up being filled with air. Okay, filled with air. They're air filled. The technical term for air filled is pneumatic.
What? Is that
Technical term for air filled is pneumatic.
The P is silent. It's pneumatic. Okay.
Alright.
So
Question, who made that?
if I go out in the shop and I'm using the compressed air to run a tool, that tool is called a pneumatic tool because it's compressed air, and it uses compressed air to power it. When I go to my vehicle, I'm going to fill up my tires with air, all right, like a balloon. During cold conditions like we've just seen in the last couple days, we're going to have to refill those up. So I have to go to Quick Trip or somewhere with an air compressor, and I'm going to literally pump more air into there to a particular pressure, so that way I can drive down the road. Okay? So that is going to be most of the cases. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, there is technology currently being developed to create tires that do not require air.
What? We're gonna do like silicone.
So you'll never have to worry about a flat tire ever again. Easton, hi, I'm talking.
Come on, man.
Can I tell my story?
Shh. Tell it later.
It's a stupid story.
Don't be rude to me, please. Anyways, they're currently developing tires. I don't know if this is the next slide. Nope. Okay. They're currently developing tires that are not going to be needing to have air filled in it, which is great because if you run over a nail, tire doesn't go flat. All right. But they're running into some technological hurdles right now.
How would that work?
I might have a picture here later on in the presentation. I don't know if I took it out or not. It's pretty wild though. If you look at a tire with
Run over a nail.
Yeah, they have a lot of
correct, because there's no air in it.
a lot of lawnmowers are like that now.
Well, you're going to see a lot of tires that are just solid wheels, which are not great for cars.
Solid, like plastic.
So
Yeah.
that would wear down suspension quite a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's also going to be a much harsher ride because you're not absorbing some of that impact.
Probably heavier.
Okay.
No.
So the traction's also not going to be as great. Anyway, someone had their hand raised?
I was gonna ask on like if it was flush with, it would be flush with the rim, because I wouldn't see how.
The tire itself, yeah, the wheel itself, the metal wheel, is makes part of that circuit of sealing off the tires, so that way when you fill it up with air.
The bead.
Yeah. Now, again, I think we're going to talk about this in a little bit. There used to be tires that you'd have tubes inside of them. You'd inflate the tube, which would seal it off instead of having the wheel part of the tire
They still make those.
circuit. All right, but we're just getting all the questions right off the bat here. All right, Tech A says automotive tires are pneumatic. Tech B says modern automotive tires are not pneumatic. Who is right?
Good points.
Does this work?
Nope.
Oh man.
Oh, it's not gonna work because I don't have it colored in.
Emerson, that one works.
Really? Can't. No. Okay, wait. I'm
Yeah,
not going
fine.
in now.
Yep. I think I got everyone in the front row.
You get me?
What?
Gotcha, Simon.
I prefer.
Chase, gotcha. Easton, yeah, Ricardo. I just call you out. I wish I could have the board up because then you could see when I got you. All right, we got everybody? I think so. All right, 88% of you got that one right. There we go. That's much better. The correct answer is Tech A. Automotive tires are pneumatic. They are air-filled. Non-pneumatic tires, not a thing right now, even though they are currently being developed. But they've been in development for many years now. And real quick, I do want to let you know that they do have non-pneumatic tires. They're just not on vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
For
on an electric
instance,
scooter, yeah.
for instance, if you think about the Mars rover that they launched and it's roaming around Mars right now, there's no air in those tires
Yeah, because
It would float away.
because there's no air on Mars, right?
What? Then how are you
So
gonna live there?
they literally had to develop a tire that could go to Mars and roll around and whatnot, and obviously perform certain functions in that environment. Obviously, that technology is way different than what we're going to use here on Earth. But even think about this: as man went to the moon, right? They had a little buggy that they actually drove around on the moon. Michelin, I believe it was Michelin, or no, maybe it was Goodyear, had to develop a tire to be able to drive that vehicle on the moon.
How much do you think each one of those
In the
tires costs?
70s. Expensive because it was paid by the government. All right, part of the anatomy of our tire, our construction of our wheel, if you will. Okay, we have a tire bead. The bead holds the sidewalls of the tire snugly against the wheel flange. This is what seals the tire onto the wheel. Okay, and obviously you can see here. Can we even do this anymore? Yeah. Okay. So this bead goes all the way around 360 degrees, right there. Okay. You can see here, down here, that is the bead of the tire. Again, here's another illustration. If this was my metal wheel right here, okay, a profile tire, like if I cut it in half, here's the bead of the tire. This edge on my tire is literally slamming itself up against the inside of that wheel, and as we fill it up with air, it's basically pressed against there, and that's what seals it up. Okay. Now, if I'm driving along, right, and all of a sudden I lose control of my vehicle and I hit my curb on the road, right, and all of a sudden I bend my wheel a little bit, that's going to most likely end up bending that bead out, which now I have a sealing problem. Now that bead of the tire can't seal real well against the wheel flange. My tire's going to start leaking. And that's not a very easy thing to fix, by the way.
What are your thoughts on brake cleaner and fire?
We talk about seating tires in Auto 2. Don't do that, by the way.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
It gets my tire on every time.
I'll let you go on YouTube and
It does work.
you're gonna yeah, it works until it doesn't.
Don't do it on a track.
There's lots of YouTube videos where you can see what goes wrong when it goes wrong.
Yeah, but we know how to do it. Like, we don't do it stupid. All right, listen. All right. So
If you're doing it stupidly. I'm just
no,
that's
you spray the inside,
yep.
and then
No, I know how to do it.
But people light it right from the thing,
From the thing.
from like what they just sprayed.
Oh.
We start to spray brake cleaner and then light the brake cleaner and shoot it at the tire.
Awesome. So, take your vehicle to holiday,
Yep.
get new tires.
Yep.
Do they do that?
No, because they have tire machines.
It's expensive.
They do
Oh.
I don't have a tire machine for my lawnmower.
Well, wouldn't it be cheaper then for them not to buy those tire machines? They could just do that trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
So why
more
don't
They
they?
have more liabilities.
What do you mean
Insurance
liabilities?
company
Like-
may not like exploding tires.
Yeah. So why would insurance company not like that?
Because it's unprofessional.
What makes it unprofessional?
It's cheap.
You're blowing things up and things aren't
Fire.
cheap.
You mean there's a possibility of someone getting hurt or equipment being damaged?
No.
Yeah.
What?
No.
You could be injured using like those too. You know?
So fun. Okay. Anyways, tires rolling resistance.
I Sprinter yesterday.
Again, this is a technical term, the vocabulary word. Rolling resistance. Tires are designed to be circular, so that way as you drive down the road, they roll. Who would have thought, right? And the weird part about this entire scenario is these tires are made out of synthetic rubber. They have to have traction onto the road. Rubber's sticky. Okay? It's not slippery, it's sticky. The thing is as you are rolling down the road, okay, it's gripping and pushing against the road to make you go. Yep, we understand that. But there's also, that's working against you as well. In that there takes some force or energy in order to get that to be rolling at a certain speed. To be able to do what we need it to do. Some tires have a higher rolling resistance than other tires do. Because again, we don't have a single tire that does everything awesome. We have specific tires that can do specific things. So depending on the application of the vehicle and what the objective is of the vehicle, we can find different tires to meet those kind of expectations. Like for instance, if I'm in a hybrid vehicle, what's my goal of that vehicle? Why would I buy a hybrid vehicle?
Air pollution.
Gas mileage, right?
What?
Air pollution, right? But I want to go as far as I possibly can go down the road with burning as little gas as possible.
Oh, hybrid isn't that like 50-50?
Can be, yes. Okay.
Electric is.
If that's my goal and that's what I want to achieve on my vehicle, when I go to buy tires for that vehicle, I want to make sure that my tires have as little rolling resistance as possible to be able to achieve the highest gas mileage as possible, right?
What if all my cards go?
If, let's say, my goal is to have a F-350 and I'm going to be towing a huge camper on the back, right? I might not necessarily care about rolling resistance too much because I'm not going to get great gas mileage anyways. I'm more interested in making sure that I can go up the mountain with that heavy trailer. So I might need more traction, right? So this might not be necessarily something that I'm not focused in on per se, okay? The less the rolling resistance the tire has, the better the mileage of the vehicle will be. Okay? And again, different compounds, different tread patterns, all this sort of stuff plays a factor into that tire.
What do you get mile per gallon?
Right now about 17, because it's winter time out. In summer, probably 20 to 22. There you go. All right. The construction of the tire is going to help dictate some of these other aspects of the tire. Now, there's traditionally been two ways to produce a tire. Okay? We can have a bias ply tire, or we could have a radial ply tire. Now, if you aren't aware of this, tires are built up in layers. Okay, it's not just one hunk of rubber. We literally have pieces of fabric. I mean, it's not fabric, obviously, but there's layers that are essentially put on top of one another to build up the tire structure. How we lay these down is going to dictate some of the characteristics of that tire. If you were to come in here and actually take these layers and you're layering it down in a certain way, okay, that's what's going to create a bias ply tire. Okay, otherwise you could have a radial tire. All right, again, two different ways of organizing these layers will create two different, dramatically different tire types. Now, back in the 70s and 80s, bias ply tires were typically what you would find on most vehicles. Okay, that was just the way that the technology was. But as technology developed, we started to be able to produce radial tires, less expensive, more durable, etc., etc. So if you were to go and buy a tire today in 2025, 99.98% of the tires are going to be radial tires.
Really?
Okay? That is the construction that you're going to see. And again, there's huge benefits to that. If you were to take a look at a bias ply tire versus a radial tire, and you could see how the tire actually forms and comes in contact with the road, you get a much broader contact patch between the tire and the road, which means I get better grip.
But less gas mileage.
Okay? The structure of that tire allows for that sort of stuff. Okay? So, bias, radial. You need to know those two words. Bias, radial. Oh, that's right, I can't just touch my screen because I got the HDMI cable on today. All right, radial tires have a very stable footprint. Obviously, that improves safety, specifically when we are cornering and braking. 'Cause I need my tire to be stable under those conditions, obviously. And the wear on these tires are much less than a traditional bias ply tire because of that construction. So that means they can go further before needing to be replaced.
Jet ski, why, like, when you get in an accident, does your music turn on? Like, even if your airbags don't go
What a
off.
random question.
Mostly due to the fact that the computers probably cut things off, so that way it's not any worse.
Well, what if I still want my like paper cards to keep going after?
And then you get your earbuds.
But what if it hits my ear and then my earbuds go into my ear?
That hurt.
So again, bias ply tires,
Aren't you not supposed to drive with earbuds in?
Yeah.
right?
For what
There's a
reason?
pattern there.
What?
What loser would do that?
Then you can see
I
radial
never
tires.
Like, when I'm leaving school, I just kind of forget.
It's a different way to structure those belts, the fabric, if you will, as the tire is being constructed. All right. Now, this is something that normally you wouldn't think about, right? You're not the engineer that's responsible for manufacturing these, but
If I slam on my
to understand how these tires get different properties, you have to understand how they're constructed. All right, Tech Ace is a bias ply tire, is one of the newest tire design, and is equipped with belts. Tech B is a bias ply tire, is one of the oldest tire designs that does not use belts. Who was right? Hi, good morning.
It's all crazy, like, all late.
Sure, you're right.
Oh, I want to try it out.
Where's my book?
You're just gonna throw it out
Yeah, I
there.
don't have your hands right in front of you. There we go, gotcha. All right, Simon, I got you.
Hey!
Levi, you're good.
Did it work?
Steven, you're good. Dylan, Emerson, you're good.
Hello.
Gerardo, Gavin,
I mean, did you draw that?
Yeah.
Mason.
Why?
Let's see.
Huh?
Chase got you.
I don't know.
Let me get you. All right, got you.
Hell yeah.
Huh? How does that work?
I wish I had like the booping. Anybody else?
You're gonna lose that page.
We're good, we're good, we're good? Okay.
You gotta mark it.
All right, 71% got that one correct. The correct answer is
B.
B.
Yeah.
Bias ply tire is one of the older tire designs. Remember, 70s or 80s is typically when those kind of peaked. We're now use radial tire designs for, again, 99.98% of our tires. Just the way that that tends to function.
I'm pretty sure that's what I fit.
All right. Now we're gonna get into some fun stuff. The information that we're gonna go over here is very relevant, not only to pick out tires for your vehicle, but it's also how information about the characteristics of the tire is communicated to people. Okay? Most people probably don't know that this even exists, or that you can go out right now onto your vehicle and find this information and know kind of what your tires are on the vehicle. Okay, so tire size that starts with the P. Okay, so we're looking at essentially this series of numbers and letters. Okay, this is going to end up being the P indicates that it's a passenger car tire. T indicates it's a temporary or spare tire. C means it's a commercial tire, aka like semi-trucks, dump trucks. LT indicates it's a light truck. So like that would end up being like your
Ford Ranger.
F-150. Okay, a Ford Ranger probably just uses a passenger tire.
What's a passenger tire?
That's just your normal tire. Like I would guarantee you,
Why?
your vehicle, probably even your truck, is going to have a P tire.
What does
Okay,
yours have?
I'm gonna have an L.
P tire.
P-Town.
The P tire is so common. Oftentimes, so at least when I'm seeing things, the P is not even listed on this particular
Because it's...
because it's assumed it's a P tire. Okay. Now, again, you're going to want to make sure you write this down. But this position here is telling you the tire type. Well, I didn't write that out. Really great. Okay, it's the tire type. And you have 4 options for your tire type. Passenger, spare tire, commercial tire, or a light truck tire. And again, P is the most common type. Again, so much so that it might not even be listed on the tire.
If it's not listed, you just assume it's a P.
If it's not listed, assume that it's a P. Yes.
So, how
Okay.
should I do that? Should I just write down that number and then label everything?
No. Well, I mean, you could if you wanted to, sure. I'll give you a bigger picture here in a little bit.
Alright.
It's important, though, that you understand what each one of these means.
Yep, I got that.
Okay? P for passenger, T for temporary, C for commercial, LT for light truck. Okay? That's right.
Stop taking my flippers.
Commercial would be like a semi-truck, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Cement truck, dump truck.
Again, getting into this a little bit. Okay, we've got our P right there, so that's our tire type. The next series of numbers, in this case, it's 205. Okay, the number that follows the P, or the first series of numbers in this sequence, is how wide that tire is, the tire width. Okay, the tire width. Again, you need to make sure that you know this. And that measurement is not in inches, it's in millimeters. Even in the United States, that measurement is in millimeters. So this tire is 205 millimeters wide.
That's so
Okay?
long.
That's what that means. And again, this number can change depending on application of what what the tire is designed to go onto. I might have a much wider tire, or I might have a very skinny tire. Okay, that changes the rolling resistance, that changes the traction, it changes a bunch of different stuff about that tire. Okay? But that's going to be the width of the tire. In this case, it's 205. Oops, I went too far. Okay, the next number in this sequence. Yeah, don't worry, you don't have to write down the whole number. The next number in this sequence, after the 205, there's a slash.
Slash 65.
And then there's another set of numbers. Okay, that is your aspect ratio. Your aspect ratio. your aspect ratio. That number is going to be a percentage, not measured in millimeters or inches, it's a percentage of the height of the sidewall. So think here to here
And how do we know that?
in comparison to its width. The height of the tire.
So say the height of the tire is 10.
No. That's not how that would be 10%. It's not measured in millimeters. Think about it like this. If my tire was 200 millimeters wide and I had an aspect ratio of 70,
140.
I would literally take 200, multiply it by
70.
0.7, and that would tell me how tall my tire is in millimeters.
So the aspect-
Because it's a percentage. Okay? It's a percentage. Often, sometimes called the tire profile, but it's very important you understand it's a percentage. It's not a measurement in millimeters or inches. It's a percentage.
So this one is 65% of 205.
Yes. So if you wanted to calculate that out, you could tell how tall that is. Okay? Now, sometimes, we don't get into this really too crazy, but sometimes you might have heard of like a low profile tire,
Yep.
right? That's because the aspect ratio is like 40%. The sidewall is very thin, okay? In that case, you obviously make sure that you need to replace that tire with a low profile tire. Some tires, like a truck tire, are going to have like a 65 to 70% aspect ratio. It's a much larger sidewall profile. Okay. The next number in the sequence, or I should say, hold on a second. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I don't have a slide for this. Let me write this out. So if I have a tire P215/65R15, I'm just writing what this says. Okay, actually let me change the color out on this. Blue. All right, P stands for it's a passenger tire.
Yep.
215 is how wide the tire is. 65 is the percentage of the tire width to indicate the tire sidewall, basically this height right here. This right here, the R, is an indication that it is a radial tire, the construction of the tire. That probably is not showing up real great for you guys to see in the back. R stands for radial tire. If it was a bias tire, there would be a B there instead. Okay? If it was a bias tire, it would be a B, but it's not. It's R. It's radial. Again, 99.98% of tires you're going to see in 2025 is going to have an R there. All right, this last number right here, 15, in this example, is going to be the wheel diameter. Wheel diameter. Basically, if I'm going to measure the distance from here to here through the center point, you guys know what diameter is. That is how many inches it is on the inside of that tire. Okay? That is your wheel diameter. So in this example, it is 15 inches. And it says that tire is designed to fit a 15-inch wheel rim. Hey, I've got 25-inch wheel rims. Awesome. You need to find a tire that says 25 here in order to fit it on that wheel rim. Okay? Boom. Yeah, we'll end with this one.
Stop flashing lights.
93.4% of people, I just made that number up by the way. I would say though, most people do not know the tire inflation pressure that they should put in their tires.
35.
Okay?
Makes sense.
More people than not overinflate their tires. Because on the side of the tire, on the sidewall, it's going to give you the pressure rating, the maximum pressure rating of that tire. Typically, it's about 44 psi. That is not what you should fill the tire to.
32.
Okay? 44 or whatever's on the tire sidewall is going to be an indication of the maximum psi that that tire can handle before you start encountering major issues. Okay? In order to find the correct tire inflation pressure, you need to open up your door, driver's side door, and there's a little sticker right here on the B pillars. Typically. On it, hi guys, stop packing up. I'm not done. On that placard, you will actually see the manufacturer of the vehicle's specification and the tire size that they want you to run on that tire. But Mr. Getsky, the tires made by Michelin or Goodyear, shouldn't we follow that? Doesn't the tire manufacturer know what's best for the tire, not Ford or Chevy? That's incorrect, because Michelin and Goodyear and all that sort of stuff produce tires for all sorts of manufacturers. It's the manufacturer itself that's going to select the type of tire that they want. And then they also have run experiments to saying if you inflate your tires to this PSI, you are maximizing the traction, maximizing the fuel economy, everything that you need to do on the tire for our vehicle. So follow this, not what's on the tire for your inflation. Very important that you understand that. Okay? All right, we're going to end there for today. And we'll pick this up tomorrow.